Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and today we're going to be reading Overweight People of Reddit. What was the turning point that made you lose the weight? If you enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. I broke a toilet seat, blamed the cheap toilet seat, and went and bought a new, nicer one. Broke that one too. I was 300 pounds, obese all my life. I am raising my 11-year-old granddaughter, and 2 years ago, I thought I was going to drop dead. She's lost too many people, and I did not want to do that to her. It's become my #1 priority, down 110 pounds. Visiting my mom while she was putting together some photo albums and seeing pictures of myself before gaining weight and after. The moment of clarity when I realized how much I'd let myself go. When I was getting a BJ, and right before I burst, the girl says, "You like that, fat boy?" That's when I was like, yep, frig that, time to hit the gym. The final straw was when I couldn't bend over my grandmother's hospital bed to kiss her because my belly was so massive. I lost 5 stone, 70 pounds, 30-ish kilograms, in 4 months as I basically stopped eating. The other 5 stone went through ditching carbs until the evening, 140 pounds. This might be an unpopular opinion, but my turning point was when I finally just accepted the reality that, like it or not, people, especially in professional settings, judge you first by your appearance before they ever learn how cool, competent, professional, or whatever that you are. Is it true for every single person? No. Is it necessarily fair? No. But is it true like 90% of the time? Yep. There were a few things that sort of laid the groundwork for the change. The first was when I realized I was obese, not just fat. I was actually at Hershey Park, which probably should have been a good indication in the first place, and I had to watch my little brother go on all the roller coasters that I couldn't fit in. It hurt. It planted the seed. The second thing was I was in the shower and I went to wash my feet, and when I looked down, I couldn't actually see them. It actually worried me. The last thing was I got an office job with no idea how to dress for an office job. So male fashion advice was browsed thoroughly, and I realized that I liked all those clothes and that I wanted to be able to actually wear all the nice things that would never fit me. I wanted to wear things that looked good on me, and made me feel as awesome as I thought I looked. I went from 365 to 250 in a year, and 250 to 200 in the next one. I now have much nicer clothes. I was in my cousin's wedding party and everyone else was tall and thin while I was short and fat. His wife started posting pictures on Facebook the next day and it was just humiliating. My face was so fat I barely had any discernible features outside of fat. The next day I joined a gym and I've pretty much gone a minimum of 3 days a week for the past 8 years. I went from a 46-inch waist to a 30-inch. Honestly, losing weight was so easy that my biggest regret is that I didn't do it sooner. I am still pretty overweight, but I am working on it and 55 pounds down so far. It was something really stupid. I got a new phone. I got a Samsung Galaxy S4 and it had a basic health app. I punched in my stats and it said, in order to maintain your current weight, you need to eat 3,700 calories a day. Well, at this point, I had been pretty steadily gaining weight. It was a shock just knowing how much I had been eating. It has been a couple of years and I'm only halfway there, but I keep counting those calories. I wear a Fitbit to track how active I have been, to make sure I don't overeat on video games in my underwear days. Calories in, calories out, incremental changes. Ran into my former high school teacher. She's the sweetest, kindest lady you'll ever meet. Imagine female version of Mr. Rogers. She said this, "Oh my goodness, name, is that you? You look awfully swollen. Are you feeling alright?" Me, "Yeah, I'm perfectly fine." Her, disappointed look on her face, "Oh, you used to be such a handsome man." Her reply almost crushed me. She was so honest. I was only 24 at the time. Now I'm 28 and ripped AF. Thanks, Miss Henry. My turning point was over 7 years. Happened when I realized my then best friend was one of the major reasons I had gained a lot of the weight during childhood and well into adulthood. The moment we stopped being friends, I started running and started to eat healthier. I went from a size 18 to a size 8 currently. This will sound shallow as hell, but it was realizing the woman I wanted to sleep with didn't want to sleep with me because I was out of shape. And it's not like I was going after 9s and 10s, so I hit the gym. I read a quote in Tam Sandlin book that said, There's no one more depressed than the fat person who loses 100 pounds, only to discover the thin can be lonely too. Basically, growing up a fat child, I had blamed so many things on being overweight, and I finally realized it was just an easy excuse and I didn't want to spend my whole life never being comfortable in my own skin. February 2nd, 2015. I partied my bum off at a Super Bowl party the night before. Like, split a bottle of rum and bummed beers from the host, partied. Eat all the dips, partied. I woke up with the absolute worst hangover of my post-college life. I was hurting, but I had to be at work at 7:30, and sure enough, I was. I wasn't worth much at all though, but thankfully I was transitioning to a new role in my department, so not a lot on my plate. I was nursing a Gatorade and staring at my computer screen when I decided to start it. I'd read about calorie tracking and how effective it was. I figured, well, I don't have stuff to do and I'm currently exercising the demons out of my past indiscretions. Why not start this stuff? So I opened a Google Sheet and started logging what I'd eaten/drank that day. Not really a plan per se, just using some simple Excel formulas to log the day. Then I built out a week's worth of daily tracking formulas and an average for the week. Over the course of the week, I recovered from the hangover and got that daily average number, 2,200 calories a day if I recall, and said, okay, next week I'll beat that average by 50 calories. So I did. Just math, really. If I wanted to eat something, I made sure it didn't push me too far outside the average. Week 2 was down and I made my goal. Cool, let's see if we can average 25 calories a day lower next week. This is a total pain in the bum, but it works. The incremental changes you make are barely noticeable. I just put a little less sugar in my coffee every week until I drank black coffee. I drank a little less alcohol every week, and so on. I lost 90 pounds over the course of a year, and I've kept it off. Granted, I actually went down 100 pounds, but gained some back, but have been steady for the past several months. Granted, I still log my intake. I figure it's either this or get fat again. I started at 265 and now hover between 175 and 170. I'll pick this every day. 1. I smelled bad every time I sweat like a pig. 2. My favorite pants/shirts doesn't fit me anymore. 3. My hard-on is not that intense anymore. 4. My cystic acnes are friggin' everywhere in my goddamn face. 5. My cardio. So that's when I decided to lose the extra pounds. Nothing fit. Nothing at all in my closet. There was this major party the next day and I hadn't a single thing to wear aside from a huge baggy top and a pair of jeans. I barely stuck around for an hour because I was so embarrassed and just ended up going back to my room, throwing clothes around and crying. Totally worth it. Still not where I want to be, but at least I'm somewhat better. The reason I used to be so overweight was caused by my ridiculously unhealthy eating habits. I was one of those people who always thought, I've done everything to lose weight, but nothing has happened, when in reality, I had done nothing. There was also the fact that everyone denied that I was overweight. Whenever I made a comment on my appearance, everyone would burst into a chorus of, oh, you're not fat, or shut up, you look fine. One day my sister started tracking what she ate, though I knew it was just a phase that wouldn't last long. I decided to try it out with her, despite what I thought about it just being a short-lived thing. At the end of the first day, I put all the food I ate into a tracker. I was absolutely disgusted. The sheer amount of food that was entering my body was repulsive, and I felt the instant need to eat less and somehow get the toxic foods out of my system. This was such a mental shock for me that I felt uprooted and horrifically unhealthy. I never had a moment where I felt more fat. That day I knew I had to change, knew I had to do something and get healthier. In short, I just needed that mental wreckage before I could recognize what was causing me to be so large. I'm no longer morbidly obese, and I'm around 15 pounds over the healthy range. I don't like telling people I've met since then my weight loss story, but I find it important that everyone realize the importance of motivating others and being honest. And that brings us to the end, narwhals. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more stories. Also, because it's getting harder to get my videos out to you on YouTube, click the bell icon below and turn on all notifications for the channel. That way you won't miss any videos. Thank you for watching. This has been your host, Luke Narwhal, and until next time, have a good one, narwhals.